I'm turning on the laptop. Alright?
Ladies and gentlemen, and good morning. How are you this morning? It's good to have you today on this virtual session. I wanted just to say hi and to let you know that we will be starting in the next minute or two. We realize that some of our valued customers are still trying to come through. Maybe if we gave them a minute or two, I think it would be a great thing. Otherwise, we should be ready to start in the next 2 minutes or so. We will be listening to the music as we await those who are still coming through. And thank you once again for coming through. Our colleagues, our partners, our valued customers, may I take this time to greet you and to welcome you to this virtual seminar. I'm just imagining now that it is raining, that if this was not a virtual session, probably some of us would be dripping wet from the rain. But thank God we are engaging virtually today, and we're excited to have you, where we'll be looking at the theme COVID SME support post-COVID-19 era. We have an exciting lineup for you, and we believe that you're going to enjoy this. And once again, thank you for taking out time to be with us. At this point, I would like to invite Head of Enterprise Business Unit, Mage Tandazile Dlamini, to speak to us briefly before we proceed with the rest of the program. Madam TD, take it away.
Thank you, Mandla. A very good morning to all our customers and our partners. It is a wet morning, and indeed, Mandla, with this physical engagement, I think some of us would get to the venue already wet. But we thank God that technology has allowed us the opportunity to engage virtually in this. I take the opportunity to welcome all of you and thank you very much for tuning in to this seminar. We are generally really appreciative of life, and we are appreciative of the fact that you are also here. We all are aware that we've gone through a very difficult and we want to thank you that you can. We express our commiseration of our SMEs and our partners who have lost their businesses through the hardship of recent times. But we are also thankful that some of us, are still standing on our 2 feet. Some of us are still trying to balance. But either way, we are grateful for life and for the businesses that we do. Thank you for your attendance this morning. I will just run through briefly why we do this seminar as MTN. It actually forms part of our engagement agenda within our customer engagement strategy. It was born in 2018 through a collaboration between PVM Investments and SME, who you have met. I think those of you who've attended these forums in previous years, you've met several times, encouraging you to do your best as you run your business. PVM Investments is run by Pumelele Mota. There was also a collaboration between Zodwa Mabuza, who is resident outside of this country at the moment, the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade, as well as MTN Eswatini. There are a few objectives that have guided our partnership over the last few years. One of those is actually to workshop SMEs on agreements that have already been signed by the Kingdom of Eswatini, which give SMEs access, and business in general, access to markets outside of this country. We also saw it fit that we educate and inform on the role played by government in ensuring that SMEs are supported to grow. So the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade actually plays a very big role in ensuring that information is disseminated to SMEs in the country to ensure their growth. We also aimed to motivate SMEs and arm them with different strategies on how to survive by bringing on board some testimonials from other SMEs that are operating in the country, so that ukhona nawe kubona swat lelinye ukuthi lona laqala kanjani noma liqhubeka kanjani lisitwa yini in their own business. I think we have brought a couple of partners also to these forums that talk to financing and those that talk to standards, because if we are to win markets and even to export some of the products that we produce as SMEs, we need to ensure we meet the required standards for. So we've brought on these forums some of those partners to educate and ensure that what we produce as a must-worthy is good for consumption by our own local market, as well as good for consumption by international consumers, should we take on further steps in accessing markets that are outside of our borders. We also really just want to ensure that MTN partners with SMEs in their daily communication needs and on connectivity and solutions that will help SMEs to access local and external markets. As MTN, we come in to support SMEs in this way within this agenda, where we have bundled propositions and payment solutions that talk to the needs of a small business. Those that have sat in previous forums, and I think some of my colleagues will touch a bit on these solutions. Today, we've got solutions such as SMEs intended for a small business. We've got solutions such as Call Assist, intended for small business, business caller tunes, intended for small business, Momo Pay, where you can allow your business to receive payments via mobile money at no cost to you as a business at the moment, and at no cost to the customer that is actually paying you as a business at the moment. So we have removed some of these costs as it relates to business, so that, you know, during these difficult times, we ensure that we also pitch in as a citizen in this country to ensure that there is ease of doing business in the market. So just as I wind up, I've already said in 2018, it was inception and education on access to international markets. In 2019, we were engaging all SMEs in the 4 regions of the country to share opportunities within the agricultural sector in collaboration with the Eswatini Dairy Board and NAM Board. 2020, I think most of us would like to forget that year. It was more like a gap year where we all grappled with the scourge of disease, which unfortunately has seen a number of our SMEs close their doors. Others are still struggling to get back onto their feet. And we just hope and pray for the best as we start 2020. 2021, we are here. We have regrouped to embrace the opportunities that technology offers us to continue this work, because we believe in this work. We believe this work is important. We believe it is important for us to engage. And we believe that as we bring partners in to disseminate information to SMEs, to educate, you know, that will give all of us hope that it can be done. Even though we go through a difficult time, our prayer is that our business spirit and our growth will continue to stand together, SMEs and as partners in supporting and encouraging each other and sharing our success stories that will propel each other forward. Briefly, that would be my remarks, our dear guests, and thank you very much, Program Director.
Thank you, Thandazile, for giving us a broad brush view in terms of how this initiative started way back in 2018 and some of the milestones that we've hit along the line. I understand that amongst other things, one of the milestones that we have achieved through this program is that we've been able to engage in excess of 800 small and micro enterprises. And through this engagement, they've been able to connect, they have been able to identify potential partners. Amongst other things, some of them have ledged on a mobile money platform, which they are readily using to manage their cash and to accept as a form of payment. We are excited about the milestones that we've achieved through this program, and we believe that as we engage virtually, we're going to take some time and reflect on some of the successes that we've registered through this novel initiative. May I take this time to welcome as well our valued partners and colleagues that have just joined us. I can see them coming through. We are very excited to have them join and have them part of this engagement session. I'd like to brush through some of the key housekeeping issues. We are already familiar with this platform, but it won't hurt to take you through some of these housekeeping issues. For instance, please make sure that your mic is on mute so that we don't interrupt anybody who's speaking, who's at the podium at the moment. And make sure that if you're not speaking, it's advisable that you are not on video, so that we make sure that our speaker is not interrupted and our audience is not interrupted as well. I can see that Pumelele Motsa, one of the pioneers, is already here, but I'm not sure whether he is ready to speak to us, to encourage us, and to speak to other colleagues and business around some of the experiences during the COVID-19 period. And I'm sure that he's going to make an indication when he is ready. Again, in terms of housekeeping issues, as Pumelele gets ready to take the podium, please, let's keep the engagement going. If you have something to say, make use of the text box or the chat box, drop a comment, drop a question. We will be happy to pick it up and stimulate engagement throughout this session. I'd also want to give you a rundown in terms of how the program is going to run. We have Luleki Dlamini, who's Director for Small Micro Enterprises in the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade. He's going to be unpacking some of the government initiatives that are calculated to assist SMEs during and post the COVID-19 period. So we're excited that he's here. He's going to be speaking to us. It's a rare opportunity for us to engage him, ask the questions in terms of how we can avail the different interventions that should be accessible through his office. So that's it in terms of how it's going to look like. It's not a long program. We should be able to go through it without any challenges. So Pumelele, are you ready to engage? Brilliant. I can see that you are here, but let's test the sound. We can't hear you. It looks like you're speaking on mute. Please double check your sound, your mic. We seem to have a challenge, Mvulane, with the sound. Let's give it one more try. All right, we Oh, there it's coming. Can
It's
you come
coming
again?
now?
Yeah, it's coming now.
Okay, great.
All right, good to have you, Mvulane. Please take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Alfonso. So great to have everybody come through today. Yeah, after such a long time, we've been away from each other, but it's so great to finally have technology come through for us. I know that 3 years ago when we launched this great initiative, we could be able to interact with everybody, but again, COVID came in and gave us a run for our money on so many issues that pertain us being able to engage and speak about how we can improve our economy as well. So I'm excited about today that at least one can reflect or would see how much the impact of the COVID has affected him, as well as my team that I work with, but to also share some of the experiences that I've had to sort of undergo and strategies of how I've actually overcome these things, because certainly when it came through last year, we were in the middle of the beginning of, I would say, we were just getting the momentum of starting a year, and this came through and threw us completely off our plan. We know that often when the year begins, we are all ready to pick ourselves up, and when March hit, and by April, every other plan was thrown completely off. But we've managed to survive it, though we are from a point where we have lost our loved ones, which obviously threw us off as well in terms of our emotional challenges, that now you can't really do so much because now you have to support family. But I guess for me, it was just to switch on. You know, at the end of the day, you didn't want to lose your mindset and focus in most of the things that one was involved in, because certainly when you are seeing the challenges, remember lockdown came, we needed to quickly adjust. We needed to quickly reposition ourselves. And the point was basically just to survive this thing. And hopefully today we're here speaking and also just looking back at the impact of how our businesses were affected. I remember we had a meeting during the lockdown when we were now striving to see how the sectors were limited to be able to do work. We were very worried that the construction sector in which we participate was going to be sidelined as one of the non-essentials. But we had a 3-week break where they pretty much were not so much keen to let us do some work. But when that opportunity came that we could come back, we really had to bring ourselves back and track and reposition ourselves. And I think we, from there with the team, the worry was obviously month-end payments, everybody else worrying about how they could see themselves losing their jobs. Fortunately, by the grace of God, we occur no redundancy happen in our business, except that we needed just to have our guys work closely with us in terms of becoming part of the process of how we can overcome this challenge. So the better part of the year last year was merely just engagement with the team, see how we can best compromise, accept some of the challenges. Sometimes we would go maybe within 2 months without much income to cover our costs and business again. Everyone else had obviously was holding back so many opportunities. Remember, we support so many other industries that are looking at budget on OPEX as well as CAPEX. So if somebody else suspends CAPEX, for instance, it throws us off, because some proposals that they would have been submitted were no longer going to be appreciated, or even they would let them occur. So now you are limiting yourself in terms of how far you can do any work. But my worst experience this COVID has really hit us on is the support and resource aspect, from logistics to material availability to the normal, which we are not used to. Again, this new normal came in with a number of challenges. So you had to quickly try and be innovative and find ways in which you can adapt in the situation. It hit our cash flow in a huge way. Because when South Africa closes, remember, pretty much 70% of our raw material comes from the other side. So limitation in terms of movement is a serious challenge of getting so many other things done is a challenge as well. So we had to try and adapt and see ways in which how can we support the local producers of some of the materials that we use, but which came to no avail because certainly our clients have got timelines and they needed their services and products to be delivered. So it threw a very serious curveball at us, but we needed just to adapt and innovate. And I guess for me, I would take away quite a number of points in terms of the compromise and the understanding from the team that I work with. And in a form to how they sort of adapted to the challenge, and they were more inclusive. It became more a collaborative a team effort that would see us through in this whole challenge. So, when I look at where we are now, I'm just thankful that we are alive. We didn't lose any of our staff. Maybe one or two members would have been attacked by this disease, but they managed to overcome. They're back at work. We're able to do work. My encouragement to everyone, I guess, is mainly just the prayer I had initially was not to lose my mind stability. When you're the captain of the ship, everybody looks into you. Sometimes you want to come to the office and you see that everyone's morale, everyone needs that drive. They see they are connecting to your energy. So you come back to the office, depressed because you probably are going through some loved ones that you would have lost. But I guess for me, my wish was just to stay level-headed, because I saw that this COVID naturally is giving us two things. One of them is either relegating certain industries to a point where they would probably just no longer exist, and to a point again where the second point would be it elevates some of them to a point they've never been in terms of their business ventures. I feel sorry though for some of the industries where someone was making a resolution in 2019 that they are quitting their jobs and they are going into business. They would have registered that company and begin to think that 2020 is my year. I'm not gonna quote Prophet Bushiri and his predictions in terms of how the year was going to be like, but I felt bad because some of the people that would have taken that knock. Imagine in January you're excited, you're going to start your new job or you run your own business, and then suddenly COVID hits and it threw us.
Sorry, Pumelele, you are speaking on mute.
Okay, sorry, thank you. So I'm not sure. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
so,
yes, perfect.
Yeah. So yes, it's one of those situations where you look back and you say, it's been a tough year. But I'm thankful to some of the financial institutions that would have come through for us to help us achieve so many of what we needed to achieve. They came through for us, gave us all the support that we needed, and they worked with us. They were very patient with us in understanding how, say, in the middle of the year, you're not getting business, but certainly you still have these overheads and expenses that keep running. So for me, it was such a very, very tough year. And I guess, into how we would pull through, it was mainly just to collect our minds and everybody else's focus into how we can overcome the challenge as a team. And I'm quite thankful for that, because it has seen us getting so much business in the process as well, because people would still now see who's still in the game and understand that, okay, they give you the opportunity. So by staying the course. So when I first came back, I think after the first 3 weeks of the lockdown, I came to my team and I said, now that we've been given the opportunity to come back, there is no way we are going to stop. We are not closing. We are not, uh, sort of slowing down. If we observe all the COVID-19 regulations that were indicated as to how we could adhere to them, we observed all of those, even for our customers, sensitized our staff, make sure that in the industries that we are able to serve, we obey all the protocols and procedures. So it really enabled us to remain in the game and stay competitive. Did I make money? I'm not very sure about that one because really it's still that time where you want to try and look back and see what the damage it has. But I guess it has switched us on, to view life in a different aspect. Right now, if you were to ask me, I'm so energized, I'm so excited that I could adopt other new methods of how I could survive this and keep the business afloat. And to the influence that I think I have amongst my team, because remember, some of us have adopted some other younger professionals, younger partners of which we're working with. So those people are looking at you and say, hey, how have you done how have you maintained success and competency under even worse circumstances? And I said to them, look, COVID was one of the worst because remember the economies are completely shut down. And it came at a time where our country and globally, we were, if I would say, on a slowdown or a global recession, which was pretty much in the horizon. And literally our economy was really not doing well. So this wouldn't have come at any worse time when we were trying to resuscitate. And I remember one of this specific program was to influence people's outlook into how the region and locally they can be effective players. But then it came and it threw us completely off. But I would say going into 2021, we are more determined, we are more driven. I see more of my team now willing to come into the table. Our boardroom is constantly filled with the team coming in to understand and unpack so many ideas. We've opened up more of our ear to listen to what the other team is saying in terms of how they can remain the sustainability of the business. Because when I actually bring my team on board all the time, everybody understands that so much is dependent on us being open. So that monthly wage or salary that comes, it really goes a long way. Remember, we've been hit by this thing to a point that our income has been affected. We've lost our loved ones who were our support system. We've lost our members in so many other areas of the society who are no more, who by virtue of being there, they were our point of reference in many points of encouragement. But we've lost them, and may their soul rest in peace. But what it challenges me to basically honor those people that have added so much value in one's success and continued strive. And it puts you to a point where you view things differently. So I'm looking at tomorrow in a much different way. So I've done three things. I've looked back and analyzed how I was doing things to that effect. And I looked at now what I'm going through. And I guess the main important aspect now is how the strategy collectively with my team, how do we survive through into 2021 and the following years to come? Because I guess that's what is going to be able to help us get through this. But we are taking everybody. We were talking with one of my business partners as to, how then do we serve letters of redundancy to these guys who have sacrificed so much to stay with us, and when there's no business, then you say this person must go home and not be able to support his family. So it gives us a serious challenge as the leaders of these entities to do more. So we see ourselves more now trying to engage, and I'll challenge most of the people who are probably in this platform listening and watching some of us SMEs share what their experiences are, to really open up to, this is my appeal basically, to for us to turn this economy around and go through this COVID challenge. We really need these opportunities to be made available to those who are obviously just trying to stay alive, because basically this one, it sees us more fighting for our lives. I mean, our lives have never mattered so much. And I'm coming from a country where at this stage we don't even have a vaccine yet. We look forward to receiving it soon. But more people and advocates have come sensitizing the nation to observe so many of the regulations of the COVID-19. We see now the numbers are going down. We pray that there's less deaths as well so that people can come back. This thing has hit emotionally, not only just physically, emotionally. We really need to encourage people who have lost hope, and they must see that there is possibilities beyond this COVID challenge, and it needs now a collective responsibility where you are able to share more. I've seen us expanding in terms of sharing our opportunities in our business now. Basically, what we normally do, what we would have done with a smaller group, we now spread it to a number of other participants or professionals, or may it be a technical support. So we are opening up to more. So it teaches us a different culture that we were not used to. In the past, we would have said, no, my staff can do this, and you keep it within the smaller team. But because now the cake is so small, so we're trying just to share it amongst other people so that they could also survive. So I guess the word that goes around mostly in our meetings is, guys, how do you survive this? And through it, as we are able to wish that we stay afloat and survive it, obviously the future requires us to do things differently, to use a lot of technology, to use different platforms that are available. And I'm very grateful to MTN again that they have made this available platform for us to even share our experiences. And I suppose going into the future with the technology and all its challenges, it gives us a different feel of how the future looks like. And we are hoping that at some point, a lot of the platforms and products that these companies are going around innovating and improving them, it should improve and less our cost of production and cost to upkeep our businesses. Because as long as MTN can offer, for instance, certain services that make it easy for SMEs to participate, exchange money, exchange services, platforms where we are able to advertise our products and be able to move a little bit effectively. It encourages you to say, you know what, I can still remain competitive under the circumstances. So for me, I would encourage everyone, let's stay this course. It's not so easy. Let us be more open to each other to, this is my appeal basically. If yesterday it was just about you, maybe today and tomorrow, let us be more inclusive and more open enough for others who are really, really, really struggling. Because I would look at the challenges and I would say, I think this is too much for me. And I would think of the worst guy somewhere who's really, really in a worse situation than I am. So I think this has seen us more opening up even budget of CSI, where we know now that, look, if I afford this assistance to someone, it really is going to go a long way. So this pandemic really did not come to literally just defeat mankind, but I guess it is giving us a different look as to, if it was morely about you and your family in the past, maybe it's about you and your neighbor and everybody else in the communities in which we live in. Otherwise, if we don't adopt and take positive outlooks out of this pandemic, we will probably be worse off, and our economies will continue to struggle. And we're going to obviously then start to do a finger pointing, which really doesn't help in cases like this one. So we would be the generation that live, and this is my prayer, that we are the generation that looks back at COVID and we say we are the conquerors, and look at how effectively it helped us to change many ways of how we're doing things, and how we have managed to be more inclusive as a society and as a people of Eswatini and the global footprint itself. So these are just few of what I would say. Let us be more welcoming and embracing, and assist one another. Business is not so easy. We want to turn this economy around, and constantly, if we collaborate more, these platforms are there. We could set up different platforms of a similar nature as well, where people are really engaging of how we dialogue and build this economy. It's for the generation. I was looking at my kids the other day and I started to get worried, and I said, hey, you know what? I have a responsibility to go out there and fight, just so that at some point the legacy and the future that they would enjoy in the past, they would know I had a hand in helping its stability. Because if I don't do my part, how are my kids going to be able to say, look, you had the opportunity to participate, and what did you sacrifice, and how much did you do to help others, so that we, as the younger generation coming, will be able to see the benefits of your sacrifices. So for me, it is more or less like challenging everyone that let us change our ways, adopt a selflessness culture. This economy will turn around, and we'll be able to look back and say, you know, God has been with us and has kept us through. I thank you.
Thank you, Pumelele, for that time of reflection. I generally say that reflection is important because it enables us to learn from the truth of experience. And repeatedly, we've been told that experience is the best teacher because it brings out what works and what does not work. And secondly, the reflection is important because it enables us to make sense of our thoughts and feelings. And talking about thoughts and feelings, we know that 2020 has been an unconventional year. We went through a lot and we're still going through a lot. So all the more reason why it is important for us to take out time and reflect as Pumelele has led us through that time of reflection. So next in line, we will welcome Andile Vilagati, who is the founder and managing director of Soap Factory. I have checked and I'm sure that he is here. Andile, can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Wanda, I can hear you.
All right, we are excited to have you today to engage other business people and colleagues from different companies. So at this point, I'll turn it over to you. Thank you. Andile, please check if you're not speaking.
Can you hear me?
Please check your mic and ensure that you're not speaking on mute.
Hear me on your end.
Andile, please go ahead. Andile. It looks like we have a challenge with Andile. Please signal if you are ready to start. But so far it looks like we have challenges. What Andile is basically going to do is going to be sharing his personal experiences as an entrepreneur, and particularly focusing on what he has learned being part of these interactive sessions that we've been having across the 4 regions of the country. Let's check, Andile, can you come through? All right, we would have to try once again before we leave. I think we would be encouraged through the testimony of Andile, reflecting on his journey in terms of what he has been able to do as an upcoming entrepreneur. Be that as it may, I'd like us to proceed with the program. Let's give it a last try. Andile, can you hear me? Andile, there we can see now.
Hello, Mr. Wanda, can you hear me?
I can hear you, boss. Please go ahead.
Oh, you can hear me clearly now?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead, sir.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Like there, I've been introduced. My name is Andile Vilagati, the founder and managing director of the Soap Factory SME. So just a brief background on Soap Factory. It was established in 2018. I think when I was establishing the company, you guys were already preparing or collaborating with the Minister of Commerce to get this going. And with that being said, I was invited by Mr. Mozart to attend the very first seminar you guys had, and it was actually a stepping stone for my business, and there was so much that I was exposed to. For example, through the seminar, I met so many other people in businesses. It was more or less farmers mostly, and then through the Ministry of Commerce, I was invited to undergo training, which was in partnership with SWASA for quality management systems, as well as food safety and security system, food safety and what's it again? Food safety and security system, something like that. And in any case, so I was basically focused more on the quality management systems, because Soap Factory manufactures personal care products which are organic, ranging from soap bars, body butters, hair food, toilet seat sanitizers, as well as hand sanitizers. And the funny thing is, I had a couple of people who used to just buy hand sanitizers from me before COVID, before anyone basically knew about the pandemic. So when the pandemic hit, it was over. Main supermarkets were running out of hand sanitizers, and then now the few people who knew about me manufacturing them, they started to spread the word, and it was quite overwhelming to see Eswatini supporting. And it's unfortunate that the pandemic had to happen first before we do that. But in any case, it was more of a stepping stone on my side. And again, through this very same platform. So in collaboration, the collaboration between MTN and the ministry has actually been a major player in my progress in business, because in business there's so many challenges. So another thing is the training that I was exposed to or had to undergo thanks to the ministry for export readiness. It was me and I think about 11 more other businesses just to take on opportunities like these, where I'm sure Mr. Jamini will speak more about the opportunities that are available to Eswatini. So such information are available, and to other entrepreneurs, I would advise to seek the information. There's so many opportunities available for Eswatini who are in business, and the other countries are willing to buy what we have or we produce. It's a matter of just aligning with the structures that are in place and seeking such collaborations between organizations, ministries, and companies like organizations like your MTN, who have made this possible. So even the word community, it's common unity, two words together. So you have and you unify, and then you form that community of entrepreneurs who will pursue opportunities. So with that said, let us do support each other and continue having such platforms where more entrepreneurs will be exposed to other entrepreneurs, because we do need to partner, like Mr. Motz has stated, that collaboration is key, especially at this time, because when we unify, we're able to battle against the impacts of the pandemic. So from Soap Factory, please do follow us on Instagram. It's at the Soap F. I will type up our Instagram and more, as well as the different places where we will be selling our products. And let us do support each other, and let us improve the economy of Eswatini. I'd like to thank you everyone for giving me an ear, and hope to see you guys soon on such platforms. Whenever you need engagement, do contact us at the Soap Factory. We'll be glad to help you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Andile, for taking us through that path of reflection, still looking back to track our progress, to uncover breakthroughs, and to discover new ways of doing business. At this point, I would open it up a little bit for questions so that we can engage both Pumelele and Andile. If you have questions, feel free to throw them in so that they can respond to them before we proceed with them. You can either raise up your hand or you can throw a question in the chat box. We'll be excited to tackle that. Any questions, any reactions to the two presentations? I can see a text from Lungile. Thank you, Pumelele, and thank you, Vilagati. So feel free to drop us a chat in the text box and we can pick it up and engage accordingly. Any questions, any comments, any feedback before we move on to the next item? All right, questions going once. I know this is not a public auction, going twice. Now take it that we don't have questions. So at this point, let us proceed with our program. We have Babem Lulegi Dlamini. Mlangeni, are you here? I think I saw you walking in. Beautiful. Good morning, sir.
Morning, Lpondo, and greeting to all the participants.
How are you doing today?
I'm great. It's been a long time. So we really do miss these activities, but fortunately now we're able to conduct it under this virtual platform.
It's so great to have you, and I'm sure that you're going to take us through what the government of the kingdom is doing in terms of providing support to small micro enterprises, particularly during this difficult and testing time of COVID. So at this point, may I turn it over to you to take us through your presentation. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Program Director. It's really a pleasure to be in this meeting. I can see that about 80 attendants are with us today. So it's going to be exciting just to present to you and make you aware of what government has done in terms of assisting businesses that have been affected by COVID and what other initiatives are there. So in a way, I've just titled my presentation that it is the impact of COVID-19 on businesses, where to from here. So basically, we'll just look at the impact and then just stop and say, where do we go from here? So I think that is how we will proceed for today. In terms of discussion, I've just highlighted what are we going to discuss today. So basically, in terms of discussion, I want for us to start by basically defining what is the MSME, then how many are they, and in terms of their demographics, then the disruption that was caused by COVID-19 on the business activities. Then we'll look at what sort of reliefs are there in terms of post-COVID, in terms of your micro, small, micro enterprise revolving fund, and also your youth enterprise revolving fund, informal trader revolving fund, and your enterprise guarantee loan scheme, and your export credit scheme, and what are the opportunities that are there as well under COVID. So because as COVID is there, it comes with opportunities as well. Then we will conclude from there. In terms of defining what is the micro, small, and medium enterprise, I always like to start off by putting into perspective what do I mean by micro, small, and medium enterprise. So in our definition, we use three broad categories or indicators, which are your value of assets. Then we look at your staff employed. Is less than 50,000 in terms of assets, and in staff complement should be 1 to 3 people, and in terms of your turnover, we're looking at up to 60,000. When we look at a small enterprise, up to 10 people, and with a turnover. In terms of your medium enterprise, we're looking at value of assets at 5 million, 50 people employed, and 8 million turnover. So you will see that all these kind of categories, we use them when we extend some form of assistance. So we don't go beyond 8 million when we provide any form of assistance, because it means that that kind of business is no longer within the definition of your micro, small, and medium enterprises. In terms of your demographics, you see from these two table that this is the demographic distribution of the businesses when we look at 2010 and also when you look at 2017, our scope survey, you can tell that there was quite an increase in terms of looking at WOHO. You see that during that time there were 27%. So in 2017 we had 25% Manzini, so they were 34.6, and in 2017 41% of the total. And now when you look at Shiselweni, it's 16. Now it's 16% the overall percentage, and for Lubombo it's 18% currently. So now the total number of businesses now currently under MSMEs are 68,000, around 68,000, and their employment is around 95,000, which basically translates to about a quarter of the total population, that is labor population employed in the country. So in terms of your business classification, in percentages, you can see that leading is the wholesale business. At least they will talk later about how it has been affected. My colleague did touch on it when he talked about cross-border movement during lockdowns, which we will see what sort of impact it had on the businesses. We also see that agriculture and farming, community and household manufacturing is seemingly not very big in the country. So basically, I think we can see that tourism and business services, those are the lowest in terms of percentages on average. Now let's get to the main issue, which speaks mainly to what are the disruptions that occurred for business activities, and we'll then see their implications thereafter. It started off with the introduction of a partial lockdown, which was introduced in March 2020, which basically had conditions that only supermarkets, groceries and wholesale for foodstuffs and fuel stations were only allowed to operate. So basically that then left other businesses that are outside the scope with no source of income, and with also a burden to pay their overheads, and also in terms of your employees and your rentals and other utilities. So then it started there. So then you will see that our scheme is structured in a way to address those issues. So when you look at those businesses that were there, those that were not allowed to operate were mainly hairdressing salons. Those are the ones that were affected drastically by these lockdowns. And also you see that cross-border movement was restricted. So you can tell that when we say that in terms of percentages, when we say 39% of the businesses are in the wholesale and retail, you can tell that they couldn't get any supplies because they could not cross the border for restocking and all others. So their businesses were drastically affected in terms of coming up with sales. So subsequent reviews came through, whereby other businesses were allowed to operate, but with limited hours on a selected number of days. So you could see that some retail shops would operate Monday to up to Thursday, starting off at 11 and closing at 3 o'clock and all of those things. So it means that businesses were not fully operational, and it led to revenue losses and all of those issues. And what also made the issue, compounded the issue, is that there were more enforcement issues on COVID protocols. They were supposed to now purchase sanitizers and also stickers for social distancing, and also ensure that their establishments have got temperature scanners and the rest. So all of those came at additional cost, while the operating hours and also they were limited. So basically it was now an issue of having businesses not making any profit while they are operating. In terms of the revised partial lockdown that occurred recently in February 2021, whereby all businesses are allowed to operate, but they close at 6 p.m. So it's still a condition that it remains that they cannot operate fully. So it also affects businesses that were operating beyond 6 p.m. Like take, for instance, if you are in the hospitality, after 5 o'clock and in the evening, I would say. So your business would be greatly affected. Take, for instance, also issue of alcohol trading remains banned, and also there is a curfew at 8 p.m. So this basically shows that business operations, because even now, when you have to cross the border, you need to provide a negative test for COVID, which is now at a cost of 850. Under this one, we are glad to announce that we've got a subsidy for the informal traders, whereby we subsidize their testing fee. They only pay 200 emalangeni, and government pays the rest. We have about 200 of those that on a weekly basis can be tested and then be able to travel into Mozambique or even South Africa to source their wares and also maybe export some of their products. So basically, the informal traders benefit out of such a facility that we have put in place. What has government done in terms of establishing a fund for business relief? We have, as government, established a post-COVID-19 business relief fund, which is with the Eswatini Bank. It is at 45 million. It started operating on the 1st of February 2021. The scheme basically is a measure that aim to assist businesses that remain operational in terms of providing credit for overheads mainly, and also business operations to continue with business operations. It is a facility that is different because its interest rate is at 5.5%. All businesses will agree with me that this is the lowest rate you can get because, you know, most businesses, they charge you prime plus. It's an interest rate or prime plus something. So basically here we've got the interest rate at 5.5, which is less 2% less than prime rate, which basically businesses can benefit out of it. So the amounts are 5,000 malangeni to 25,000, which is payable over a period of 12 months. Then you have 25 to 50,000, which is payable over a period of 24 months. Then up to 100,000, you can pay it over a period of 36 months. And also note that there are no annual inflation increases on your loan. So it means on entry, as you sign, that your monthly repayment will be so much, it will remain over the duration of your particular loan. So this loan is accessible for all businesses that, let me just go to the pre-qualification conditions on the next slide so that you can understand which businesses qualify for this particular dispensation. Pre-qualification conditions, we've got both sectors, which is basically your informal sector and your formal sector, plus your startup businesses. Under the informal sector, all the businesses that will benefit should be 100% owned by a Maswati. They can either be a startup business or there should be a proof of loss of employment. Then you also have to going through that account, and also there should be a permit that your operations are approved, and also the issue of you complete an application form. And a very key condition is that you should have a clean credit record. Most businesses, you find that you know that you had a loan with another bank or any other financer, but because now we are saying that there is this facility, now I'm going to take advantage of this facility. The bank will obviously do a check in terms of your credit worthiness. So basically, some businesses, we've got cases now since the scheme started whereby people are saying that they cannot benefit from the fund because they are owing some other financiers. But then the issue is you need to first have to settle those outstanding loans with other financiers before you can benefit out of this facility. Otherwise, we would see a lot of defaults coming through if we can just loan without even doing any checks. In terms of the formal sector plus the startup businesses, also these ones you have to have a transactor bank account and you must have a trading license. The tricky part on this one is that you need a business plan and cash flow projection so that it can show that your business will definitely progress in future. And also if it is market orders as well, you can provide those or any contract that you have with businesses to supply goods or services. So the other conditions come through like copy of ID of directors if it's basically a company, not a sole trader, and also know your client's documents, and also the condition of a clean credit record is also enforced on this one as well. So basically you can see that all these facilities make sure that you have a clean credit record. So basically, I would say the scheme is already operational, and I would encourage all business people to visit the bank to make the application so that they can benefit out of this initiative. We're looking at increasing the 45 in future in the event that we see an increase in the uptake and also a lower default rate, because that is what will determine how the scheme will progress to the future.
Just a quick question, Ngosi, just to interrupt your presentation. We have a question from Facebook. Do local NGOs get assistance from this fund? Your quick reactions?
Thank you very much on that one, Program Director. When we look at the formal sector, we see that it talks more on associations. We have company resolutions to borrow and the constitution for the association. If they are an association, we can be able to see how they can be funded for their project. It's one of those cases I think we can deal with as we see when they submit their proposal in the bank. Then we can take it from there. Because I think here the main thing is it should have the capacity to repay the loan. If there is that capacity to repay the loan, I see no problem, because all of these loans will be issued in terms of business viability. So if they've got a project that has got that business viability, they should be able to get that assistance.
Makes sense. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm still here. I'm waiting for
So when we now look at other schemes or initiatives that by government, we've got. I did make mention of the Informal Trader Revolving Fund. It's a fund that has been operational way before COVID. We are partnering with the FinCorp to benefit informal traders with loans up to 5,000 Malangan payable over 6 months at 1% interest rate. So basically, we are now in the Manzini region where we are dispersing these funds over the last 2 years. I think we've covered around 300 informal traders, and the repayment is quite good, and we're looking at rolling it over countrywide. Currently, the scheme now is about 7 million in terms of its portfolio, because we've recapitalized it with 3 million this last financial year. So we've got 7 that we can assist the informal traders. So it would help if we can just get applications coming from other parts of the country besides Manzini, so that we can then say FinCorp, we've got interest coming through from the Shiselweni region. Can we go there to assist? Then I think we can have more people benefiting out of it. We also have your Youth Enterprise Revolving Fund. This one, I think it's a very popular one, whereby the youth can only benefit up to 35, and you can get a maximum loan of up to 150,000. What will be very interesting on this one is that we are finalizing a participation agreement with the Youth Enterprise Revolving Fund under the scheme, Scale Enterprise Loan Guarantee Scheme, whereby loans that are being issued by this fund can now be guaranteed under the guarantee loan at Central Bank of Eswatini, one of its kind. And their contribution rates will be different because we're looking at having about 2% contribution by the business promoter when it is a startup business, and an already existing one at 5%. I will talk about it in the next bullet point. So basically, this scheme is also there. We've seen them, the fund issuing expression of interest for all of those that would want to benefit out of the scheme. So the good news is that now they will be guaranteed under the Small Scale Enterprise Loan Guarantee Scheme, because I think in the past issues were around what the collateral from the youth. Youth doesn't have collateral and all of those issues. Sorry about that. In your slides, it's written 15 to 34. It's 18 to 35. So it's just a correction. So it's just 18 to 35 years, not 15 to 34. Under the Small Scale Enterprise Loan Guarantee Scheme, it is a collateral scheme that is managed by Central Bank of Eswatini. Businesses are provided collateral. When you get a loan from a commercial bank and you do not have a collateral, then that is when you then apply to Central Bank to say, can I have the scheme being a collateral for my loan? And a new business can be covered at up to 95% in terms of your collateral. And then you will then have to give upfront a 5% commitment as well from the business. And when it is an existing business, it's 85% covered by the scheme and 15% from the business. So at the end of the loan, you get your 5% and your 15% because it is reinvested back into that initial loan. So businesses can now benefit out of that. As I've highlighted, that we are now finalizing the participation agreement with the Youth Enterprise Fund, that now loans under that fund can now be guaranteed. We are also finalizing other participation agreement with non-banking financial institutions. We call them NBFIs, which are basically your FinCorp and also your SIDC and your NIDIX, National Industrial Development Company. So basically, all of those, then now they now going to issue loans and guarantee them under the scheme. So, and we've also managed to increase the maximum in terms of the guarantee to 1 million instead of the 500, because the scheme had a limit of 500,000 in terms of what we can guarantee. So now we can guarantee up to 1 million. So these are one of the good news that the business was looking forward to. In terms of what are the benefits in terms of the projects that are coming through out of COVID in terms of the recovery plan, we see that projects that are close to implementation, others have already started. We've seen that Kellogg's started production and the investment as their investment asset at 270 million. Triumph is at 126 million. Galagashane, QLX, all of those, these are in to the country, and some have already started. So this slide shows the potential of the MSMEs leveraging on being local supplies for such projects. Under Kellogg's, there are issues of transportation, whereby we will see our MSMEs benefiting in terms of providing those services. And also FuelX, if you've got the SOMI is the oil company, and also Manzini, the Ntwese is the mall in Manzini. I think you've seen it in the newspapers that there will be this big mall that will be coming through. We're hoping that local entrepreneurs will benefit from providing services for that project. So basically, when you look at even the strategic oil, these are basically private sector driven initiatives whereby we are saying these are the opportunities for MSMEs to leverage on and provide services and be part of the value chain. Because we are not expecting that foreign companies will come in to provide even those basic services for these particular companies. Take, for instance, cleaning, security, and all of those things. We are saying these are the opportunities whereby MSMEs are going to benefit out of all of these initiatives. And you can see that they are the job creation potential for all of these investments. It's just a highlight. Otherwise, if you recall that under the economic recovery strategy, it came up with about projects of about 30 billion, whereby you could see a collaboration from the private sector and public sector. In my next slide, I will talk on to the public sector projects. Can we go to the next slide?
Probably as we go to the next slide, there is a question from one of the participants, Bongosi Pagati. What are the turnaround times that one should expect from Swazi Bank on such applications? Maybe just a rough guideline in terms of what we could expect from these financial institutions.
Thank you very much, Program Director. We agreed that it shouldn't take more than 7 days. It's just less than 7 days. It could be 3 days, 5 days, but less than 7. So that is what we are the timelines we're operating under with the Eswatini Bank. Thank you.
Assuming that all the documents are in order, is that correct?
Exactly. Yes. Thank you very much for adding that one. Thanks. All right. So basically, when we now look at the public sector projects, whereby we are also saying these are also the opportunities whereby our MSMEs can leverage to provide services. We've got LUCIP, most of businesses have already benefited out of tenders out of these projects, because these are EU-funded projects. So it's basically government benefiting and also using local businesses to execute. So these ones are already operational at the estimated cost of 1.2 billion. So even the expected jobs to be created around 800. Completion date is about 2025. So basically this is work that is ongoing. We can benefit out of it even now during COVID and after COVID. And also the construction of small dams, that also will be done within 18 months, and it's at 200 million. We have got Mkondo, Ngwavuma water and irrigation development. As you can see that you will recall that our demographics in terms of percentage of businesses, the agribusiness is second after wholesale. So we are saying that let us provide all the facilities that can enable agriculture to be the leading sector in terms of providing jobs and also trade. So that is why you will see that most of the projects are agro-oriented. So it is one of those initiatives that government is implementing to try and assist in that area. We're also looking at upgrading, these are upgrades of roads and also Stunu Sakeke and also Bulembu, You will recall that Bulembu, you've got this mine minerals, gold mine in Pigs Peak, all the way. Other issues is to operationalize these mines in that part of the country. We're also looking at continuing at the project of factory construction. So basically, even there, most businesses can then leverage and benefit out of these initiatives. Can we then look at what will be your role in terms of economic recovery? I've always indicated that we need to leverage on the supply side opportunities as MSMEs. Since now COVID has provided an opportunity for an increased demand of personal protective clothing, we need to supply that and be part of the local supply chain. So when you look at now even frontline workers, hospitals and all of those things, these are the opportunities that MSMEs should take advantage of. Not that we will see that here are the opportunities, but you find that there are foreign companies that are dominating in that form of business. It won't lead into a robust growth of the economy to the future. Let's also take advantage of international market access. The products that are produced, we then have to take advantage that there are shortage for various basic food commodities globally. So if we are saying that we can say, can we produce or be specialist of agricultural goods? Let's do that and be part of the global supply chain. Then we can be able to then say MSMEs have got a role. Our MSMEs have got a role in the global chain. And so we also, if we want to tap in those markets, we need to be very sure that we comply to international product standards. So basically, those are the requirements that we need to fulfill when we want to be part of the global value chain players. So basically, on an advocacy part, we need to now focus on issues of on the policy dialogue. I've always talked about it to say no. Local enterprises through different organizations need to propose reforms on policies and taxation issues. So you also need to take that lead and say, challenge government to say, these are the issues that we want addressed for us to better conduct business. That's an enabling environment that government can provide. And issues of lower threshold rates, I think we've talked about this over and over again during our engagements, and it's something that we are still saying that please have those proposals ready so that we can engage the relevant stakeholders on it. In terms of building business linkages between MSMEs and large corporations, I've just said that we need to be part of the business linkages in the global chain. So here the supply of goods and services should be awarded to local MSMEs for economic sustainability. This is basically an issue of policy reform whereby we are in the process of finalizing the Citizen Economic Empowerment Bill by the ministry. It also have issues of preferential procurement, which we feel that will secure a better margin of local sourcing for the local businesses. So basically, that one is something that is work in progress. We should be able to get ready anytime soon. Embracing technology in business operation and management. As we are meeting today, we are meeting through a virtual meeting, not in one of the hotels around. So it is one of those things that businesses should now be using, and also use digital marketing and transactions instead of using our normal modes of transaction, and also e-commerce platforms. You sell your products in quite a number of international platforms, whereby you can then reach a wider customer base. And you need to also be able to automate the production processes to achieve efficiency. So these are the things that Andile needs to consider when he wants to grow his business. E-commerce platform automation of the production, it should not displace your labor force, the automation, but it should now come in to introduce efficiency, not to displace your labor force, because in some instances, when you now introduce automation, you tend to then relieve your labor force of their duties, which now then becomes an issue in the long run, because it now introduces an element of increased unemployment. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I think I will end there so that I can take the questions. I can see that they were still coming through with this quote. I end here: do not worry about being successful, but work towards being significant, and the success will naturally follow. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We can go ahead and put our hands together for Babe Mluleki for that brilliant and informative presentation. Thank you so much for that presentation. We have a couple of questions from our honorable guests. One is from Winnie. How can SMEs and young entrepreneurs be protected in participating in such procurements or works? That is, for instance, what are the statutory requirements in the tendering process? That's the one question. We also have a question from Freedom. Do you help the startup company with tenders or adverts, QSO, or so they grow? I suspect this is a typo. Do you help the startup company with tenders or adverts so they can grow? Just your quick responses to those two questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Program Director. Let me start with the last one, which talks on helping startup companies to grow. We have SETCO. SETCO is one of those institutions whereby it has an incubation facility. So most of those startup businesses, once we see that they've got viable businesses, we do house them in that incubation facility up until they are more competitive. So it's basically an issue of having to engage with the rightful authority, which basically, if the individual has got a business, they can come to us. We can assist them in terms of making that facilitation for them to be housed there. And if they've got those business plans, we can see how we can assist them. Because as I presented here, you see that there are quite a number of different schemes that one can benefit from. I did not go into those that are for Tingundla. In the different Tingundla, you've got different schemes that are being managed by the Minister of Tingundla in terms of social development for communities. Also, those ones, they come in handy for businesses to start up. Then after that, as growth calls, then after that they continue their journey. I think yes, we can facilitate such an engagement in view of what sort of businesses are you in, because even this morning I was just listening to RSTP that they've partnered with Standard Bank, whereby they'll be providing some form of assistance for incubation, training informal traders on innovation and business management. Then they'll incubate them. Then after that, once they are competitive enough, they can allow them now to get into the market. So basically, it's just a mix of all of those schemes or initiatives that we can see how one can get assistance from. Coming to the one on how can small businesses be protected in the tendering processes. In the tendering process, the conditions are you score more points when you are in partnership with local small businesses. So basically, it's one of those things that was incorporated in the tendering process. That the more you partner with local businesses, the higher your scope becomes. So it is not one of those things that the bigger corporations are not aware of. It is now the issue of fronting which then comes into play, whether you are there as a business fronting or you are there to operate. So I think it's balancing those kind of two things. Otherwise it is accommodated in that process. Thank you, Program Director.
Not sure if you'd like to comment about preferential sourcing coming from Andile, but I think you did touch on it. Maybe just a point or two on same.
Okay. No, thank you very much, Program Director, on that one. In terms of preferential sourcing, it would say it's can be able to now say form those clusters and have the capacity to supply, because I think one of the issues that we're faced with as a country, and in terms of what then affects our MSME cluster is the capacity to supply, because also the quality of that particular product. When I talked about issues of compliance to standard, I was just highlighting those issues that the market can be there, but you find that if you can't meet that standard and also the capacity to supply, then it's just an issue of a market that doesn't exist at all. So I think what needs to happen now is we have started working with the leather entrepreneurs who are doing leather design in terms of footwear and also handbags, to say not one of you needs to be saying, I can only supply this order. Form a cooperative or an association, then after that you know that with the right quality and also standard, then you'll be able to conquer those export markets. Even the domestic markets, then we know that we've got a reliable source of supply that can be there. The preferential procurement, basically, it is an issue that is dominated by that, because no large enterprise can then source from an unreliable business person. When they want the raw material, it's only issues of what is the excuse rather than the product. So basically, I think those are the challenges that we need to address as businesses. Thank you, Program Director.
Thank you, because I think you've spoken to this one, but I think it would be fair to read it as is. Sicela mane kube nemthetho lapho ema-tenders angahambi tinkampani letincane tingakafaki nato, so they can learn how to do tender. I believe you've spoken to that, but I wouldn't buy you from making a comment on that. And then Pumelele Mota, thank you so much, Ngozi. Very informative and helpful presentation and deliberation. And we have another one from Dogozo B. Lamin Ngozi, and a comment on the government's plan to prioritize SME payments, because cash flow is one of our major challenges with government supply. Your quick comments on those reactions from participants.
All right. Thank you very much, Program Director. In terms of the one that speaks to the tendering process, that you first allow the MSMEs first before the large corporations can come into tender. It is quite a challenge, because, you know, when you now say open tendering process, you're now saying you're just making it fair. It doesn't discriminate against anyone. So it might be an issue of, say, for instance, you look at the magnitude of the work that needs to be done and then allocate it to those particular. Yeah. So it will be an issue of allocating it to a particular
Sorry, colleagues, can you please mute? I can hear you. I don't want to embarrass you. Please mute your mics. Thank you.
Yes, so it would be the issue of seeing how we can then allocate it in terms of the sections that issue of classification to classify them in that particular way. Some of them are still speaking.
Yeah, we have a challenge, but thank you, Director, for that. Probably it's also a question of capacity enhancement on the part of local entrepreneurs so that they're able to compete on a level field with non-local companies. Just your quick comment on that.
Yes, we've worked with quite a number of MSMEs. I think now we've been doing some entrepreneurs and taking them through quality management systems. Andile did make mention of that we carry out those trainings, and after that we take them through for certification if they so meet those requirements. So in a way, it's just in preparation of now being able to be competent in terms of production competency and also product certification. So those are the issues that we still need to first address before we can say now we are able to say a company can be relied on in terms of being part of the supply chain, because the supply chain in its own very nature is indicating that you are part of a link. So whatever, if in that link then there's a disjoint, then the entire process cannot be completed. So those are the issues that we need to be cognizant of as we continue to incorporate our businesses into the global value chain.
All right, thank you, Nkosi, for those insights. It's encouraging. The tarring of roads, I see that you did mention some of the roads that they're on the pipeline to be tarred, and I'm sure that it's going to stimulate a lot of business activity, like the Pigs Peak Bulembu Road. I know I'm biased. I grew up in Bulembu. And, it has been painful seeing that mine rot, and I'm sure that reviving the infrastructure would go a great deal in terms of stimulating job opportunities. Maybe let's take this final comment before we go. It's dicey. That's Sydney Mdluli. It's a dicey one to prioritize SMEs as companies do not want to grow them. However, the issue becomes on a delivery of products which have critical delivery times. I think that's speaking to capacity. Maybe you'll make mention, you will comment on that. Let me take this one from Tandazile as well. How do SMEs get in touch with the projects highlighted for opportunities? Just your quick reactions to that. I have another one from Zoto Mabuza. Greetings from West Africa. I'm really sorry for joining at the tail end of the session, but yeah, thanks Zoto for coming through. I hope you'll glean something from the latter part of the meeting. So those are the two comments, one from Tandazile and the other from Mdluli. Your quick comments on that?
All right, thank you very much, Program Director. In terms of how to get hold of information of the project, there will be a project tracker that is at Cabinet. We've got a delivery unit which has got about 4 of structures whereby we've got the Enablers Committee and also MSMEs Committee, and just forgetting the other 2, whereby they give out information through, and there will be a platform whereby you can track the progress, the status of that particular project and what is needed in that particular project. They should be launching the status platform in the next month or so, which basically will be listing all the projects. and you can access all that information that relates to this particular project after that. So basically that would be that. Yes, so in terms of the question, was it on the issue of prioritization on payments of MSMEs? The program director, was that one on prioritization of MSMEs payments?
Let me double check. I think you dealt with this one, but this one sounds more like a comment. It's a dicey one to prioritize SMEs as companies don't want to grow. I think that was more of a comment.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to believe you've tackled the questions, not unless I'm missing something. But let's take this final one from Pumzeni. How do you help a startup SME who does not have experience as needed by the clients? I see a lot of SMEs that are failing to break into the market because they fall short on experience / references aspect. Any role you could play in terms of collaborating with clients to give the startup SMEs a chance? Is there anything you could do as a ministry to enable this startup to take baby steps and begin to compete on a global, on a regional scale? Any kind of support in that respect?
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Pondro. So basically, issues of startup are always a big challenge because a startup business should have a business plan which shows all the business cash flow projections. And once you are able to say that this business is viable in the market, then that is when you can then say this business can be funded and it can be incubated, and after that it can grow, because only the figures in the business plan can be the ones that can guide the business. Otherwise, without that, it is something that you will just be speculating that if you go to the market, you might make it maybe if this comes your way. So basically, all businesses survive through a proper planned business plan that will be executed as per the details highlighted in that particular plan, and following all the growth paths, and be able to change with time or change with the situation. Then after that, you should be able to make it within, because your reputation, if you're in supply chain, is the one that will make you more attractive by your nature through those other enterprises that will want to work with you. So basically, it's just having a good reputation as you continue to conduct your business. Then after that, you should be able to penetrate the market, then start to grow. So it's being, you just have to be very brave to enter that space and just be yourself and do it with passion. Then after that, you should be able to prosper in your business.
Thank you for that, Director. At this point, I would like to encourage participants to use the link that has been shared. I think I've shared it twice. We would like to keep in touch with you, and as part of that process, please do register so that we can keep the engagement going. Truth be told, this is not the first and last session that we're going to be having, and therefore it makes it all the more important that we have that registration form filled in. So at this point, we are not closing questions, but we would want to transition to the last leg of the program, where Sipho is going to be taking us through just a few highlights before we call it a day. Sipho, are you ready? All right, I can see. Good afternoon, Nkosi. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Pondro. I hope you can hear me clear.
Perfect. Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. It's good afternoon already. Okay, I can see Lisa has already dropped the presentation, so it's coming again. Okay, thank you very much, valued clients. Siyabonga kakhulu. Sibonga Nkosi for that wonderful presentation. I think everybody can attest to that. We've learned a lot and we've gained a lot. I think some of business there's a lot that we've gained, and also appreciate our president in terms of previous present everybody for the good presentation they've made. From an MTN's perspective, I'm going to be very brief and also take the opportunity to thank our valued clients for the continuous support that they've given us over the years. And since we have started the SME Seminar, yes, the SME Seminar is all about making sure that we also share information with them, but we appreciate also for coming as well in this platform to be with us. Mine is going to be very brief now because it's all about to share from MTN side or MTN's business side what we have done to consider SMEs on the ground. There's a lot that we have done, but I will only be talking to 5 minutes to 7 minutes in terms of what we have done. Only 2 initiatives that we have done for SMEs. Some of them you already know about, but just in case others are not aware of it, maybe just as a highlight. One that I'm going to be talking to as a highlight is the Business Connect, which some of us know as Fixed. Where what we have done, I think we already know what is Fixed because this is a product that we have introduced in the market in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. It was for the first time that we had such a product in the market. But what we have done now this year to make sure, actually in the last month, to make sure that our clients are able to connect in different offices. It's just a matter of buying a router and also making sure that up to 32 of your staff members are able to connect, and then you have your mini Wi-Fi or you have your Wi-Fi in the offices and FMA. If you are more than that, you can buy many routers so that you can add a SIM card and also be able to connect and run your operations seamlessly for our various valid customers. But what we've done for this one last month, we've more or less doubled the offer or the proposition that we have been giving to our customers. I can say in terms of the proposition or the offer is more than 100% what we were offering in terms of additional value, what we have been offering. For example, the first one, which is 50 GB that we are giving you, that is going with the router, is 465 Malangen. That 50 GB used to be 20 GB at that same price. So I think our valued customers might be aware about that. But now we are buying the same amount of money. The bundle is more than triple because now it's even above double. It's 50 GB. And also the 20 GB used to get at 465 is now 250. I think you can also see in terms of the value that we have given there. The 100 GB that you can see there, we used to be 40 GB at the same amount. But now at the same amount is giving you 100 GB. Interestingly, and which is something our customers in terms of feedback we have already got from the ground, our unlimited, it used to start to throttle because unlimited at some point in time, it might start to throttle or the speed start to slow down. It used to be 40 GB at 750, but now it is starting to throttle at 100 GB. What to highlight also here is that in the past, the speed in terms of where at throttling speed, it used to be very low. And what we have done now, we have more than doubled in terms of the throttling speed at 2 Mbps, which now customers are able to enjoy. Some of our customers might already know about that. 200 GB used to be 3,000, now 1.5. 500 GB used to be 7,000, now it's 3,000 Malangen. which is something that our customers need to be aware of so that they can be able to run seamlessly their offices and their operations. And also our combos under the same proposition are still there, and we've also doubled the value there. The same price. It used to be 20 GB and 500 minutes, but now it's 50 GB instead of 20 GB at the same price. I think the price just went up by 10 Malangeni there. And also the uncapped combo with 1,000 minutes. Now it's at 1,000. It is starting to throw obvious at 100 GB. Previous it used to be 40 GB. I think that is what I wanted to highlight on this one from this screen that we are at now. Thank you very much, Mahalis. If you can go to the next slide. Okay, on this one, what we are trying to say, it's a work in progress, but we have recently launched this one. I'm saying it's work in progress because I think in the next few days you'll be seeing changes on this one. But what we are saying here is that even if, because most of our customers are on postpaid or they have contracts, but what we are saying now, we don't necessarily need to have a contract, even though it is still important to have a contract so that you can be able to run a business seamlessly. But now we have got other part of our clients, especially where maybe for different reasons they are not able to have certain qualifications in terms of making sure that their approvals, they get approved because when you're coming to postpaid, then there are certain documentations or certain requirements that you need to submit so that you can be given that facility. But here we're saying, if you are running a business and you have employees, even if those companies, even if those employees are on prepaid, for example, now you can be able to buy that bundle, which is strictly made for SMEs. You buy for yourself on the platform. There's a USSD that which is star 686. Then it is going to allow you. Okay, sorry, I thought maybe the USSD I've put it here, but I think I will. But it's star 686. Then it is going to lead you to our SME Easy platform, where you can be able now to see in terms of which packages that you can be able to buy seamlessly, even if you don't have a contract from our side. For example, it is divided into two. We have the S, which is 50 Malangeni. That one is weekly. It means on a weekly basis you are having those offers, which is 150 minutes, and then okay, it doesn't have alternate minutes, and okay, sorry for that. It also has data for 250 MB. It also has 10 SMS on the platform. You just buy for yourself, and each and every week, if you run out of that one, you can be able to reload for yourself on the other side. And then now we have also got this one, which is SME Easy Standard. You get on a monthly basis. This one we have also revamped. It's 370 per month. In the past, we are now getting 500 minutes per month, and we are also getting specifically 100 minutes for calling other network on this one. To able to, when you bought it, to have that 100 minutes to call other networks and also it used to have 1 GB, but because of the revamp and the value adds that we have tried to make for our clients, we have now increased it to 2 GB. So now we are able to get that 2 GB from that proposition. We are also able to also get 200 SMSs from that one as well. I think from me, at high level, valued clients, that is what maybe to share with clients so that they can know if maybe they haven't been aware that in terms of what we've done from a business perspective, in terms of the offers that we've made for you, so that you can enjoy this and also run your businesses seamlessly without any hiccups from our side. Otherwise, I think at high level, that is, yes, we do have, I think for for purposes of knowing exactly in terms of what else we have, because now this is not the only propositions that we have double offers. There's a lot talking to also mobile services that we have done. I think each and every one of us that is here has got a salesperson that he or she can talk to make sure that she or he is assisted accordingly. Thank you very much, Program Director. I think for me, I can end there.
Thank you so much for taking through some of the specific products that the business has put in place in a calculated way to support SMEs. So at this point, we are almost at the tail end of the program, and once again, I'd like to encourage you to fill up our registration forms so that we can be in touch with you. We've had a question that is it possible to share the presentation that was delivered by Babemluleki Dlamini? And one of the things that will make it easier for us to share that presentation is for you to register so that you can share your contacts as well. We are aware that some of the participants, we have your contacts, but we also request just so that we have a sense in terms of who was represented in this session. So please make an effort to register before you leave the platform. I can see already a lot of traffic, incoming and outbound traffic. So please do make sure that you register before you go. So as we close this session, I would like to thank you for your participation, your engagement, amongst other things. And in closing, I would invite Magetandazile Dlamini to just take us through her final reflections on this meeting, and that would basically take us to the close of this meeting. Thank you. Magetandazile, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Program Director. I also want to thank you all the facilitators and the presenters. Today, I have personally learned quite a lot from the testimonials that were run by Mota and Andile. I learned that it is important to get training. I learned that it is important to be visible in your team through the difficult times because that allows for them to also read your face and your poise and your courage so that nabo bangaphelelwa ngemandla and they continue to do their best. So thank you very much for those testimonials to our two very successful SMEs. I also want to thank the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mluleki. I think the information you shared is very valuable. Lusito lukhona ama-SMEs njengoba luchazile Baba Mluleki, that you can get help. Help is available. We just need to continuously come to this forum so that we can get information on the direction we need to take or where to from here. Sinibonga nonke futhi makhasimende ngekuthi nithathe lithuba lekuthi nibe kanye nathi namuhla in this forum. This is the first one we've done digitally for our SMEs, and we hope to do more of these digitally, and we hope for better attendance in our next forums because the current situation where we are now desires that we transform and meet in this way, which also saves our time. With that, I want to say a big thank you to you and all the best as you continue your business. Thank you very much. Back to you, Program Director.
Thank you so much for those final remarks. And then from me, it's bye. It's been great having you today. Have a fruitful day going forward. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, Pumelele. Thank you.
Bye. Bye, boom. BBM.
Hey, guys. Ciao.